Australia has a reputation: deadly spiders, venomous snakes, sharks, box jellyfish, the kind of wildlife that makes visitors from other continents quietly reconsider their travel plans. But here is the thing about modern Australia. Modern Australia is the tame version. 50,000 years ago, the continent running underneath the feet of the first humans to arrive was something so comprehensively, systematically, and almost admirably dangerous that calling it an ecosystem feels like an understatement. It was a factory, and the only product it manufactured was death. Every continent on Earth had megafauna, enormous animals, Ice Age giants, mammoths and cave lions and giant ground sloths. Other continents had their monsters. Australia had all of that. And then Australia kept going, because Australia is not like other continents.
It has been geologically isolated for 80 million years. 80 million years of evolution with no interference from outside, no migration of new predators.
No reset button, just the same landmass running the same biological experiment for longer than most continents have existed in their current form. What that isolation produced was not just big animals. It produced big animals that had been optimizing for killing things inside this specific environment for timescales that make the entire human evolutionary story look like a long weekend. Let us start with the ground. Megalania. If you think you know what a lizard looks like, set that image aside. Megalania was a monitor lizard in the same family as the modern Komodo dragon. But where the Komodo dragon reaches about 3 meters and weighs around 70 kilograms, Megalania reached somewhere between 5 and 7 meters in length and weighed up to 600 kilograms. 600 kilograms. That is the weight of a small car. Moving on 4 legs. Hunting actively. The Komodo dragon kills by delivering a bite laced with venom and bacteria and then following its prey for days while it dies from infection and blood loss. Megalania almost certainly used the same strategy. But scale everything up. The bite is wider. The venom delivery is larger. The infected wound is deeper. And unlike the Komodo dragon, which mostly ambushes prey that cannot outrun it, Megalania was hunting in an environment populated by animals that had spent millions of years. Learning to move fast, Megalania had to be fast too. If you were a human arriving on this continent with a sharpened stick and a reasonable confidence in your own survival skills, Megalania would have ended that confidence in approximately the time it takes to read this sentence. But Megalania was not alone on the ground. Diprotodon. This animal looks, at first glance, like a wombat, and in a technical evolutionary sense, it is related to wombats. It is the largest marsupial that has ever existed on Earth. It weighed approximately 2,700 kilograms. That is heavier than a white rhinoceros. Its skull alone was the size of a large suitcase. Diprotodon was an herbivore, which sounds reassuring until you remember that a 2,700 kilogram animal does not need to be carnivorous to be catastrophically dangerous. Modern hippos are herbivores. They kill more people annually than almost any other large animal on the continent of Africa. Diprotodon herded. Large groups of them moved across the Australian interior. The ground shook when they passed. Anything small and unlucky enough to be in their path simply stopped existing. Now look up. Dromornis stirtoni, known informally and magnificently as the demon duck of doom. This was a bird, in the same way that an aircraft carrier is a boat. It stood approximately 3 meters tall. It weighed around 500 kilograms. Its beak was not a delicate instrument for pecking seeds. It was a massive, hooked, bone-crushing weapon attached to a neck thick enough to deliver force you would not believe from something with feathers. For a long time, scientists assumed it was an herbivore based on the beak structure. More recent analysis of the jaw mechanics suggests it was likely omnivorous at minimum, and possibly an active predator. Those jaws could crush bone. They were not built for grass. 500 kilograms, 3 meters tall, bone-crushing beak, moves on 2 legs faster than you can run. The demon duck of doom is the most Australian thing that has ever existed, and I need you to understand it was completely real. Now look at the water, because of course. Wonambi narracoortensis was a constricting snake that reached 5 to 6 meters in length. It did not hunt the way modern pythons hunt. It was an ambush predator that waited near water sources. In a continent where water sources were scarce and everything needed to drink, Wonambi essentially owned the waterhole. You need water to survive. Water is where Wonambi waits. This is not a food chain. This is a trap. But the water had something else too. Quinkana, a terrestrial crocodile, not a semi-aquatic ambush predator. A crocodile that lived entirely on land, ran on long legs, and actively pursued prey across the open ground. Modern crocodiles are fast in short bursts. Quinkana was built for sustained pursuit. It had long limbs and a body plan designed for running rather than swimming. It combined the structural nightmare of a crocodile with the behavioral nightmare of an active ground predator. A crocodile. That chases you, on land, for extended distances. And if you're enjoying this completely real tour of the most dangerous place to have ever existed, I post content like this regularly and genuinely. You should subscribe before. Something descends from the trees. Now look at the trees. Thylacoleo carnifex. The marsupial lion. This was not a lion in the technical sense. It was a marsupial, related to wombats and koalas rather than any cat family. But convergent evolution produced something with the functional profile of an apex ambush predator, and then gave it adaptations that actual lions do not have. Its forelimbs were extraordinarily powerful. Its semi-retractable claws could grip and anchor prey. Its bite force, relative to its body size, was the most powerful of any mammal known to have existed. Pound for pound, Thylacoleo had a stronger bite than a spotted hyena, than a lion, than anything, and its thumbs were enlarged and blade-like. Not claws in the conventional sense, blades, for cutting. It weighed around 130 kilograms. It was built for trees. It could descend from a branch onto prey below with grip that could not be broken, and cutting implements that went through muscle with minimal resistance. The koala is its distant relative. The koala, sitting in a eucalyptus tree eating leaves and looking confused. The marsupial lion is what happens when the same evolutionary line is given a predator's problem to solve instead of an herbivore's. Australia solved the predator problem. Thylacoleo carnifex is the solution. Now step back. Look at the whole picture. You are a human arriving in Australia approximately 50,000 years ago. You have fire. You have spears. You are Homo sapiens at your cognitive peak. You have survived the journey here. You step ashore. On the ground, Megalania, a 600-kilogram venomous lizard. Diprotodon, a 2,700-kilogram herbivore that can crush you by accident. Quinkana, a land crocodile built for pursuit. At the water, Wonambi, a 5-meter constricting ambush predator that owns every waterhole on the continent. In the trees, Thylacoleo, with blade thumbs and the strongest relative bite force of any mammal in history. In the sky, Dromornis stirtoni, 500 kilograms, bone-crushing beak. It cannot fly. It does not need to. This is not a biome. This is an argument. And the argument is, you should not be here. The first Australians arrived anyway. They stayed. They learned the continent. They developed the longest continuous cultural tradition in human history, over 65,000 years. They did not just survive prehistoric Australia. They understood it in ways we are only beginning to reconstruct. That tells you something extraordinary about them, or something about what humans are capable of when they have absolutely no other options. Most of these creatures disappeared within a few thousand years of human arrival. The causes are still debated. Climate, hunting, fire management changing the landscape, probably all three. The demon duck of doom is gone. Megalania is gone. Thylacoleo is gone. The land crocodile that chased things across the open ground is gone. But go to Australia today. Watch a cassowary move through the rainforest. Watch a saltwater crocodile hold perfectly still in brown water. Watch a goanna climb a fence post with the same fluid, boneless efficiency that Megalania used to close distance on prey. The shadows are still there. They are just smaller now, just different enough that you forget to be afraid.